People, my name is Callum WM. How are we all doing? Welcome to predicting the Premier League title race, the UFL, the EFL, sorry, the EFL, the Champions League, the relegation spots, and pretty much everything to see if they will be champions and who is going to be going down. So welcome to the stream. I hope you are all good and we are ready to go. We have 8 final games to predict, and of course I'm wearing a Man United shirt, so you might think, you know what, Callum, there's a bit of bias here. No, there is no bias here. It is me being completely honest. I will pick it as honestly as I can, 100%. So without further ado then, let's get into it and predict who we think is going to be the champions, who is going to be in the UFL spots, who's going to be in the Champions League spots, and who is also going to be in the relegation spots. Now, of course, with this table right here, it does not include the minus points for the likes of Nottingham Forest and Everton. So we'll have to deduct those at the end, but we are going to see how this goes. We're going to start off then with the games in hand, which of course up first then is going to be Chelsea versus Tottenham. Now, you know what? I think Cole Palmer has something for Tottenham here. I'm going to reckon it's going to be a 2-1 win for Chelsea. I think they're going to win this game and actually move Chelsea up to 7th with that game in hand played. And then we are going to be jumping next into the games in hand, which are from Gameweek 29. Also, hello and welcome to everyone in the chat that has joined. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're all good. And thank you so much for joining this YouTube video as well. Right, up next then, Arsenal versus Chelsea. Now, you know what? I've got a soft spot for Chelsea. I mean, they cooked Man United the other day. But you know what? I do think Arsenal win this 3-1 quite comfortably. Then we have Wolves versus Bournemouth. I mean, it's just giving a draw, isn't it, really? It's just giving a draw. And then we have Palace versus Newcastle. I do think Newcastle are going to win this one 2-0. And then we have Everton versus Liverpool. Hello to everyone in the chat. How are you all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're back on YouTube. They love the vids. I appreciate it very, very much. Everton versus Liverpool is going to be a 3-1 win for Everton. And you know what? Man United are going to win 21-0. What? They're going to win 2-0. And I think Man City also win 3-1. So now, with all the games done in hand, that is how the table currently looks, going with seven games left. What is your favourite team, Cal? My second favourite team, of course, is Crystal Palace. Just because Jack does play for them at the present minute. But you know what? It is what it is at the present minute. Right then, now we move into game week 32 at the present minute. We're looking at a very tight table. I mean, Chelsea in 8th, Man United struggling as well. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Right, up next then, which is going to be this game week, it's going to be Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. I think Crystal Palace lose this. I think Man City are going to win 2-0. You know what? Something about me just says Bernardo Silva is going to score. Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like a Bernardo Silva goal is coming about in this game. Aston Villa versus Brentford. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Aston Villa are going to win it 1-0. I think Aston Villa get the win. This website is worldfootball.net table calculator. So if you just type in Premier League predictor, it should come up for yourselves. Then we have a big game, Everton versus Burnley. I mean, this could go either way, but you know what? Everton haven't won in a few games and Burnley aren't playing too bad. I'm going to go for, you know what? I'm going to go for a 1-0 Burnley win. Controversial. Is it time for the great escape for Burnley? We don't know. We don't know. Fulham versus Newcastle. I'll say I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw for that one. Luton versus Bournemouth. You know, I think Luton actually win this game 2-1. I think they got something. I think they're going to cook something up. I can't lie. Then we have Wolves versus West Ham. This has got the biggest 0-0 written all over it in my opinion. Brighton versus Arsenal. I think this is going to be tight. Going to be a tough game for Arsenal, but I do see Arsenal getting the work done on a Saturday or Sunday evening, whatever day the game's played. And then this weekend we have Man United versus Liverpool. I love Man United. I'm wearing the badge, but I've got to be realistic. I don't see us beating Liverpool. I've said 3-0 in every other video as well. I'm sticking to 3-0. I think we do lose this game. And then do you know what? I do think that Chelsea do beat Sheffield United. But how funny would it be if Chelsea didn't beat Sheffield United? Like, they beat Man United 4-3, Cole Palmer with a goal, and then they go and play Sheffield United, who are currently bottom of the league, and then they just lose. It would be hilarious. It honestly would. Maybe I'm a little bit salty about the Cole Palmer incident. Maybe I am. And then we have Tottenham versus Nottingham Forest. It's going to be a 3-1 win So then match to week 32, it looks a little bit like this. Chelsea only 2 points now off Manchester United. We got Luton 3 points off safety. And then we do have, I think, most other teams as well who are pretty much all but safe. Aston Villa starting to close up a little bit at the present minute, but Liverpool still in first place as we go into game week 33. I mean, there's some good games here. Newcastle versus Tottenham. I'm pretty sure, didn't Newcastle beat Tottenham like 6-1 last year? So I'm going to say Newcastle win this again, you know? The Cole Palmer incident is crazy. I mean, it was a hat-trick? You know, I don't even remember it. It was like it was yesterday. And then I guess, obviously, Brentford are going to win 1-0. And then we're going to have a win for Brighton 3-1. Man City are going to beat Luton 4-0. I think they're going to break their spirit in that game. Nottingham Forest versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. I will go for a... I mean, you know what? It's got a draw. Maybe I just think... you know, I'm going to give Nottingham Forest a win here. I think they're going to sneak a win. Then Man United are winning 1-0 against Bournemouth because, you know, we're going to scrape a win. It's going to be a Garnacho or a Rashford 90th minute winner. Liverpool versus Palace. You know, this could be a close game, but the way Palace are playing at the minute, I think it's going to be like a 3-1. West Ham versus Fulham. I could see West Ham getting a win here, like a comfortable 2-0 win. And then Arsenal versus Villa. I will go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. And then Everton versus Chelsea. Chelsea versus Everton. I will go for a 2-1 Chelsea win. Maybe I just think Chelsea are going to keep winning now. So obviously that means that Man City jump ahead of Arsenal in the league table with that draw. Man United are back within 6 points of the top 5. And Chelsea are still 2 points off Man United. Crystal Palace now dropped to 17th in the league. But I'm pretty sure most of these other clubs are already down. But I mean, I can honestly see Chelsea finishing in like 7th place. If I'm being perfectly honest. I could see them finishing in like a 7th place. Then we go into match week 34. Only 5 games left. Chelsea versus Brighton. I do think Chelsea drop points here. Although Brighton aren't playing the best. But you know what? I'll stick to a draw. I'll stick to a draw. I mean, before I said that Man United would, you know, get a result against Newcastle. But I honestly think that we might lose this game. I think we might lose to Newcastle. Given the way we're playing at the present minute, I'm not confident. Then we have Tottenham versus Man City. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. And then Luton versus Brentford. I'm going to go for a Luton win. I reckon a 1-0 Luton win. Adebayo with the goal. I think he's going to get a big goal. And then Sheffield United versus Burnley. I mean, that's a close game. But I think Sheffield United aren't great at home, man. They're not. I reckon it's going to be a 2-1 win for Burnley. Arsenal versus Wolves is going to be a 2-0 win for Arsenal. And then Everton is going to draw with Nottingham Forest. Aston Villa are going to beat Bournemouth, and Crystal Palace West Ham is Crystal Palace West Ham. I don't think is always a draw. Am I the only one that feels like Crystal Palace West Ham is always a draw? And then obviously Fulham versus Liverpool. I do think Liverpool win this as well, which means Arsenal move back up the league table into second. Man City are still third. It looks like top 4 and top 5 is pretty much over, and Newcastle are now actually ahead of Manchester United, and that's the club I'm wearing right now. But I'm being as realistic as I can be, if I'm being honest. And now Crystal Palace starting to struggle a little bit. Only 3 points between Palace and Luton, so that could get tasty towards the end of the season, couldn't it? All right, then we move into game week 35. We're going to have West Ham versus Liverpool. I think this is going to be it could either be either or. Like, it's going to be... West Ham aren't playing too great at the minute, but I will go for a draw. I'll go for a 2-2... No, I'll go for a 1-1 draw. I'm changing my mind. I'm doing this on the spot, you know. I reckon 1-1 draw, I think... Or it could be a Liverpool win, but I will go for West Ham 1, Liverpool 1. I do think Crystal Palace are going to get like a lucky 2-1 win here. Man United will beat Burnley very comfortably. Newcastle will beat Sheffield United quite comfortably. Wolves versus Luton, I think it's going to be a 1-0 win for Wolves. And then Everton versus Brentford. Now, that's a close game, but I think it's going to be I'll go for a draw in that one, like a 1-1 draw. It's got a draw written all over it. Then we have Aston Villa versus Chelsea. Chelsea might find a bit of form, but I think Aston Villa at home are just too strong, you know. I think Aston Villa at home are too strong, but you know what? Aston Villa can get beaten, by the way. They did lose, like, what, 4-0 to Spurs or something like that. but I think Aston Villa beat Chelsea. Bournemouth versus Brighton is going to be a win for, I'll say Brighton, I'll say 3-1. And then Tottenham versus Arsenal, I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Arsenal. And then obviously a 2-0 win for Man City here, which pretty much means that I think Crystal Palace jump up a few places. There is a bit of a closed gap now between Tottenham and Newcastle and Man United. So that could be a tight little game, that could be, you know. You put Crystal Palace in a relegation zone, no, they're 15th. They're 15th at the present minute. And you've got to remember, Nottingham Forest have got -4 points. Everton have got -6 points as well. So they've got to come into calculus for this one as well. Then we have into game week 36. We have Arsenal versus Brentford. Bournemouth, sorry. It's a 4-1 win. Brentford versus Fulham. Maybe I just think these teams draw all the time, but Then we have Brighton versus Aston Villa. I do think Brighton will beat Aston Villa 2-1. And I do think that Newcastle and Burnley is going to be a 2-0 win for Newcastle. West Ham versus Palace. I think West Ham versus Palace. West Ham versus Chelsea is going to be a win for Chelsea. And then we have Crystal Palace versus Man United. I think this is going to be a 2-2 draw. Liverpool versus Tottenham. This one's got draw written all over it for me, if I'm being honest. I think this could be potentially a draw. I'll go a 3-3 draw. And then Luton versus Everton. This could go, depends on how Luton are playing at the present minute. You know, I will go for a 1-1 draw. And then obviously, Man City will not lose at home to Wolves. And Sheffield United versus Nottingham Forest, I think it's going to be a 3-1 win for... No, I'll go 2-1 win for Nottingham Forest. Which means that Arsenal actually go top of the league. We have Liverpool in second. Man City now in third. It looks like it's going to be a tight race between Newcastle and Tottenham for 5th, 6th and 7th. And Man United are in there as well. Chelsea are in the hunt a little bit as well with 2 games left to go. Then we have, at the present minute, Brentford in 17th, Everton in 15th. It looks like it's a 4-point gap between Brentford and Luton. But of course, Nottingham Forest and Everton still need to minus some points off them. Right, into the penultimate game week then. Bournemouth versus Brentford, I think is going to be a 2-2 draw. No, you know what? A 0-0 draw. I'll go for a 0-0 draw. Then we have Aston Villa versus Liverpool. I do think that Liverpool might get a result here. I think they might do. I think this is going to be their telling point. Then we have Everton versus Sheffield United. Sheffield United are pretty much down already, so it's going to be an Everton win, in my opinion. And then Fulham versus Man City is a 3-1 win. Man United versus Arsenal. I've said this many a times and I will stick to this. It's controversial, but I think Man United win this game. I don't know what it is, but I think Man United win this game. You know, Chelsea hadn't beaten us for a while and they did. I was wrong before. I may be wrong again. But you know what? I got a feeling. Newcastle versus Brighton. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be I'll go for a 2-2 draw. And then we have Forest versus Chelsea. That's going to be a 2-0 win for Chelsea. Then we have Tottenham versus Burnley. I think Tottenham are going to win this quite comfortably, 4-1. 4-0 actually, 4-0. And then we have West Ham versus Luton. It's going to be a 2-0 win, which I think might relegate Luton. I think it probably does, but I'll have to double check after this. And then Crystal Palace versus Wolves. I think it's going to be a win for Crystal Palace. Which means then that Liverpool take the top spot going into the final game of the season. Arsenal are 3 points off the title. Man City are second. Aston Villa have got top 4 confirmed. And Spurs have also got the top 5 confirmed as well. Man United in 7th. Chelsea could still finish 6th, 7th or 8th. That Europa League battle is hot right now. And then we obviously have Brentford at the bottom here in 17th. Luton are relegated. Burnley are relegated. And Sheffield United are also relegated. Even if we add on the points. Well, hang on. There may be a bit of drama here. Because Nottingham Forest minus 4 points will be on 32 points. So there could be a chance. But Luton will need a huge swing. And Everton minus 6 points as well. So Luton could have a chance. But they need about a 20-goal win. They need about a 20-goal win. Right, we have. We'll start off with the games that don't really matter as much. No offense to anyone. We've got Brentford versus Newcastle. I think it's going to be a win for. I'll go a draw. Could be a draw in that game. I do think Man United will lose to Brighton, and I do think that this is going to be a 0-0 draw as well. don't think there's going to be much entertainment. Chelsea versus Bournemouth, I think is going to be a win for Bournemouth. And then Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. It's a dead rubber game, so I think Crystal Palace will probably win it. Then we have Luton versus Fulham. It's going to be a 21-0 win for Luton, 100%. They're going to cook up. I'm just kidding. I think they do win though. I'll give them like a 2-1 win. And then obviously we're jumping into the top 4 battle now. I think Spurs are going to win at least 6-0 on the final day. And then I do think that is pretty much the rest of the table done. So going into the final 3 games of the season, of the 3 teams who are in the title race, it could go either way. If I'm being honest, Liverpool versus Wolves will be a 2-0 win for Liverpool, I think. I do think that Arsenal are going to beat Everton 4-1. And I also do think on the final day, Man City will do their little comeback win from behind against West Ham and win 3-2. But that does not change too much. That is my final league table. Liverpool are going to win the league, I think. And I'm wearing a Man United shirt and I'm being as realistic as possible. So please give a like because I'm being as realistic as possible. Liverpool win the league. Man City in second. Arsenal in third. I think that Aston Villa will still get top 4. Spurs in 5th. Newcastle may jump up to 6th if they get everyone fit. Man United in 7th. Chelsea in 8th. Brighton in 9th. West Ham in 10th. I think Wolves will finish in 11th. Bournemouth in 12th. Fulham, Palace, they're all in that same sort of spot. I do think that Everton obviously minus 6 points. So that means Brentford will go up into 15th. Everton will go down into 16th, I think, with 32 points. And Nottingham Forest will be just ahead of them, sorry. Wait, so Nottingham Forest in 16th with 33 points. Everton in 15th with 32 points. Luton are relegated. Burnley are relegated. And Sheffield United are also relegated. I mean, I think that's quite a fair and realistic league table going into the final few games. There's a few little, predictions you don't expect there. But you know what? I think this is how it is going to finish. So guys, if you do agree, drop a like. Feel free to subscribe if you are new. I'm trying to do 1 live video a week just to try and get myself going in terms of some more long form content. So feel free to subscribe. There will be like a video weekly. So feel free to subscribe, like, comment, share. Comment down below what you think of your table. And that should be it for today. And ladies and gentlemen, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Man United winning this weekend.